This is Gary's. Gary or whatever. Gary's wife.
Nice to see you too. Okay.
And,
Hi. I remember you. Yes. That's right.
good to see you. This is ours.
My earrings on now.
You're complete, right?
I'm Hal.
Guy's wife. He's a contractor.
This is their newest
Guy's wife.
spring apparel here.
Yes, being
Well,
modeled by
he's
By the
brother-in-law.
Okay.
mummy to be.
Well, on video cameras. I think everybody. Let's see, where's Tommy?
He may be in the bathroom. The door's locked. Closed. Here are the two guys with their video cameras. They're trying to look real sweet.
Yeah, this is the plague of the whole party. You know, having guys like us around.
We're not good.
I know. You're unself-conscious.
Kind of hard to be nonchalant, right?
Yeah, it is whenever you know that they're on camera. Are you trying to do this?
Yes.
Yeah, no taking during the meal.
No. Be too busy. Waiting on Tommy. I think so.
Yeah, here we come. Just please start. Oh, I've got to go get the bread. We have sweetened and unsweetened.
And you can eat inside or outside, whichever you prefer.
Please.
Well, I think Leota ought to go first.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, birthday girl.
Okay, go. You know, if I get first chance, y'all won't have anything bad.
Of course, when I said that, I'm next oldest.
That's right. Well, we would have had the candle. We would have had the candles first, but we couldn't bring in the dump truck with all the candles necessary.
Tommy, you're the oldest grandchild.
So you're supposed to save the rose for Mom, not for him.
You have to rub it in.
I have to rub it in. Well, I put my roast inside of her card, so should I take it out of the card? Or?
Well, go ahead and say it orally and then put it back. Or can you remember what you were going to say?
Well, I'll tell you, that bald spot up there was like there.
It might, yeah, it might.
I'll tell you, this is probably closest we've been in there in 100 years. We never did get this close with the kids, did we?
Yeah, right. Who does with the kids?
For mine,
Yeah.
we're all celebrating.
Yeah.
Your Mama's birthday, April 10th.
Thank you.
Thank you. That'd be fine, whatever.
Ready?
Solo. We're gonna back her up.
And let's go.
She was sing solo. Solo, we can't hear her. This one's yours.
Yes, we'd be glad to give y'all a quartet if you'd like.
I know you could.
Mother has a mouse in her pocket. And she says we.
That's it.
Let's see. Turn on the table bird back behind us.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we could do our
Well, the great
number, our kicks. Our kicks. Now you're getting staff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this. Tommy and I are gonna leave this good.
The rocket.
Somebody's supposed to get kicked here.
Yep.
We're short grandchildren.
Your grandson.
Yep. All my kids are in Dallas this week.
Not all of them.
Well, except for Jennifer. All the boys. I'll put it that way.
This is some of the grandchildren and some of the great grandchildren, right?
Right.
One of the grandchildren's almost 40.
Like a half a mammal.
Is that half a mammal? 58?
He was 38.
Yeah, he's 2 years younger than Warner.
Okay, Tommy, you're next in your bunch, please. With Les. Yeah. Tommy, this is all you got here today, huh?
Right.
Diggity dog.
Well, we're missing my grandson.
Grandsons and
Rusty is not here. He's at a ball.
And then is there
Michelle's not here. Or is that
Michelle's not
Name's not here?
Oh, you do? Oh,
Where's she? Get Bobby's picture. She had a birthday yesterday. That's right. Bobby was.
See what our group here?
Had a birthday. I know how old
We
you
don't
are,
have
Bobby,
mine anymore.
because
When I get to be 80, we'll have another one.
we're gonna have a wedding for our 80.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know you're all.
What is that, Bobby?
The red button on
That's
top,
about
the
40
red button
years
on
from
top.
now?
This one's
I'm
not
gonna have
bad,
a
is
water
it?
balloon fight at mine. Are y'all coming?
It's
Yeah.
Jennifer
You're
and
so sweet.
he knows that. Charlie. It's Jeremy.
Are you sure you have
Jeremy
yours?
who's
Well,
19 and
Thomas was gonna send me a special launcher for my
Who didn't
wheelchair.
get to be here?
Jeremy, who's 19, and Matthew Phillip are our 16-year-old twins. Had to be in Dallas. Couldn't be here.
Okay.
He thought he could get off, but he
Jennifer's 5.
it fell through because it's Easter weekend. Plus, I think when he found out the other boys weren't gonna be here.
Okay. Smile, Les, like you used to.
The stone range from 50.
That's it. I heard from you anyway.
Smile like you.
Okay.
Give a few little bits.
Okay, Joe, what do you have to do?
Profile shot. Well, that would figure out how to use it.
All your friends still love you, thank goodness. Even the Historical Society is beginning to get interested.
And you know, she joined the Jamestown Society through a number and genealogy. Maybe she.
Inside track.
She was born in
Number
it.
one's so good, wasn't it?
So far.
If you're happy today, if your heart is cheerful in life, somebody cares if you're feeling good and everything's going just right. And somebody hopes that this message will show in a warm, little heart-to-heart way that you're thought of, remembered, and lovingly wished, and especially happy birthday.
Oh,
How
so
sweet.
sweet.
Prettiest darling. Oh my. A sister is someone who'll share all your glad times, laugh with you, cry with you, help you through sad times. A sister is someone who is loyal and true. A sister is wonderful if she's like you. Love, Pat. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
I'm not gonna read it. I'll let her read it at her.
Yes, your Alberto discretion. Special.
Oh, here's the Mamaw.
Oh, how cute.
How cute.
How cute.
A little bit back. Oh, my.
Chinese?
Having a great Mamaw is a lucky thing for a little girl like me. Think you're sweet, kind, and nice. That's my way of saying I love you, Sherry.
Oh,
Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. That is so sweet.
Look here, Sherry.
On this side, she takes it back.
Yeah.
So, dear Mamaw, happy birthday. I'm sorry I can't come to your birthday party, but I hope you have a great time. I just want you to know that I love you very much and hope the best of wishes for you. Love, Rusty. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank y'all.
What time do you have to pick them up?
About 6:30.
You're how
You're how old? Stump guesser. Win a prize. Then inside it says, you look so lifelike.
Yeah.
Is that from John? Mom, one of my teacher friends' sons asked her, on her birthday, are you an artifact yet? So,
Kevin accuses me of going to school on dinosaurs, so
she told us it was a horse,
I tell
but
him, yes, I used to go up to the ditches and climb up and
Jump
all
on.
that stuff. Is this supposed to be read now too?
I don't know, who is that?
Oh, it's not, it's just to you.
Oh, for me? Okay. Oh, this is with our love, Mother. Until we're grown, we never knew or fully realized how good to us our mother is, how gentle and how wise. Ooh. And as we grow, we come to learn the way that children do. All the special love she showed, how thoughtful she was too. And so this comes with all the thanks that you deserve and more. For there's not a dearer mother than this one wish is for. Happy birthday, Tommy and Bonnie. Thank y'all. Oh, that's so sweet. Ways you have reached me in our lives. Share the good times. Been there during provided child care, meals, moral support, prayer, gifts, even puppy help. You're not only a wonderful mother-in-law, but a very special person who has been a real mom to me. And I love you very much. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
That's nice, Bonnie.
This is the ink deal. Let's see this one. Got you on the ground, so many. Guess we need to get together and play all day. I'll beat you though. Always Bill Marie. Oh, that's sweet. And she and her family singing that little day over there too. Oh, that's so sweet. Time to look back and cherish warm memories of happy times gone by. A time to look ahead and dream light dreams of days yet to come. A special time for you to be remembered. Have a happy birthday. Wishing you the best, love, health, and time. Thank you. Oh, this little coat is cute. Oh, this I cherish this. Cherish all of this. Oh, how pretty. Oh, good. What are you giving?
Because of our, you just that.
A birthday prayer for you. Each birthday is another chance to pause and start out new, to add more meaning to our lives and make our dreams come true. And as this birthday is your sign, God has you in His care. May He fulfill your every wish and answer every prayer. Lots and lots of love, your grandkids. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to be a grandmother.
Music on. Oh,
Isn't that beautiful? That's a music box.
Guess what it plays?
what is it? What is it play?
The Rose.
Really?
The Rose.
Oh, you beautiful grandchildren. That is so lovely.
Upside down. Turn it upside down. I like the glitter.
Turn it upside down, Aunt Leota.
There you go.
Oh.
Excuse me, let me go around and get another battery.
See how pretty?
Oh.
Gorgeous.
I've never seen one like that.
Turn it on the play. Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
She'll get plenty of exercise now. Turn it up now.
Yeah.
This is my combination roast and card, so we'll hold on to this.
Oh, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember I told you it's gonna be a roast, I didn't enjoy it?
Well, I didn't know
He's
you
never been
But
at a loss
December-
for words.
But in
Oh, I
December
didn't think
10th,
so.
we're gonna, gather around for his 30th birthday. We'll have plenty of things to say.
Ah.
We're gonna have a barbecue. You're gonna really roast him, huh?
Oh, look at this.
No,
No.
open it.
I think it's a
I think he's talking.
Yeah, I gave her a pager.
I bet you can
So you can run her down.
That's gonna jump out at me.
You never know which store she's at.
I'm afraid it's gonna jump out at me.
Yeah.
Kind of suspicious there.
Scared open presents from you, Kevin. It is.
See what you've done, young man.
Are you serious?
Time will jump out.
It won't jump out.
She does not trust. I know. She's none of them.
Oh. Isn't that lovely?
Oh.
Oh.
Pretty.
Wow.
It's a pendant.
Oh, beautiful.
That
That
is
is
beautiful.
Go it over here, Les, please.
The originals.
Original.
That package, I have no reason.
Yeah,
Well,
that,
that didn't apply
Bella,
to
you have a
us.
card on the side of it.
Oh,
yeah, there's a milk card on
You
it.
have a card on the other side.
Oh, I think you wanted this.
You get the fat ones.
Can you get it?
You get that half
tell you, Kevin chimed in and said there's a charge for the dinner.
That beautiful bouquet in there came from Kevin too. It's so gorgeous. Thank you.
Right.
Some dads that she's recalling.
I've enjoyed annoying Mamaw with her age all these years, and I really am grateful she's had an 80th for me. I'm planning on 90 because I'm going to get some good mileage.
Just think she'll do it.
Then you'll be turning 40.
With you for a grandson, I don't think.
Okay, then you asked for that.
Okay.
I remember when she gave me that chili, you know?
I know you kept trying to send me back.
And Gary will be who knows how old.
This is from the 3 kids.
Yeah, this is.
They're not very good for the environment, so.
They're not good for the indigestion system.
See what the card says too. Happy birthday. Bonnie and Tommy, Linda, Ada, and Carly, we love you. Thank all of you so much. It's so sweet of you.
We gave this card.
Yeah, come on.
See if you really want to thank us.
I'm curious
Yeah, you
now.
may not want to.
Yeah.
This could be.
Matter of fact, there's something slithering in
It's
the
some
box.
leftover salad.
I know how much you like snakes and bugs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that got it? Oh,
They gave you a box, how nice.
no, you don't.
That's incredible.
You might got a knife, scissors.
Yeah, there's some scissors.
You getting upset?
Drum roll.
Oh, there's more?
Got
Another
another
package.
box.
Another box?
They have, I tell you.
Oh! Oh!
Pretty.
I'm thinking of it.
That is so pretty.
Oh,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you.
3
All
kids?
of you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh.
Pass
For
it
insurance
around. Let us
purposes?
see
That's
it.
right.
We hope it
They might get back.
gets back.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hold it up one more time for the other
I
camera.
really want you to hold it up.
Hold up for the other camera. I got to get a zoom in here.
Mamaw would like for you to pass it around so they can see it.
Okay.
Okay. So pretty. I'm
She picked
so
him out.
pleased to
And
say
you get
it.
a hug out of that, Jennifer? Did you get a hug out of that?
Happy birthday, Aunt Leota. This may be just a little bit of humor and history that all might be enjoyed. I have always shared several things with you. One is our birthdays. They are the same day. One other thing is my capability of putting my foot in my mouth and bringing up different subjects at the wrong time. Daddy used you one time as an example because of one of my conversations. The story goes that when you were still dating Uncle Carlisle, the family had invited him over for dinner. Well, for lack of conversation, you began to discuss the funny little bugs you'd seen and that they were such hard workers. They used their hind legs to make perfectly round little balls and would take them in long distances. Daddy explained the looks of horror on Granddad's and Mother Dove's faces and Uncle Carlisle's red face and funny grin. He went on to describe the open mouths of Hap and Warner. He did not know whether to giggle or be excused. Finally, I think Granddad must have put the rose to the subject to say it nicely about cow manure bugs. Have a wonderful birthday and at least 100 more. I love you. You still know what those roly-polies
Good
are?
start.
Oh, I was dumb.
That was dumb.
Who's next?
I think Kevin already. Recall, when we first moved down to the old Hammond place, was I in the first grade then or what? Of course, I was in it about 5 or 6 years.
What would
What?
that make you? I was in the 4th grade. What would that make you?
Second.
Second.
Second, I guess. Of course, I was in the first grade about 8 years, wasn't I? Okay.
I've been in 1st grade.
That makes Mamaw 88 then.
Hey, cool.
When we moved to Old Hammond Place, 640 acres, we were 5 miles from town. The only horse gentle enough for the older than me to ride was a big old red horse. You remember that old red horse?
The old Mac.
Yeah. The horse was so big and the stirrups for me were so short, I had to hang on to the stirrups with my hands, and when I was barefooted, I'd climb up his front leg until I could get a hold of the saddle. And then with And then I'd guide him over to a fence or a gate, and Leota would get on behind me. Dad didn't want us to lose our books, and so he had an old deer hide tacked on the barn, and he made a large book satchel out of it. You remember that satchel, Les? You was always ashamed of that satchel. I wasn't too proud of it either. The satchel had the hair side out and smelled like an old deer hide. Lil and I were very careful to get our books and lunch out of that old hide and leave it on the horse. It was 5 miles to school, and I don't recall ever having to miss school or stay at home because of the weather. A short time later, Dad traded for a little black mare called Cricket. Compared to Red's riding jarring trot, Cricket was about like a rocking chair. The family kept Cricket for years, and Warner and Hap still used to ride her to school. Isn't that right, Hap? So that's what I wrote about you.
Yeah.
While living on the Beasley place out at Valley Spring, we were all picking cotton. The wagon was in the field. The tongue of the wagon was propped up so the cotton scales would hang on the end. Sunday we didn't pick, but Monday morning we all went to the field and looked up to see Leota's dirty, nasty tennis shoes, one hanging on each end of the single tree of the wagon. Leota nearly died of embarrassment. She cried, wondering who would do such a bad thing to her. Howard Smith and a Mr. Poe were good suspects. I imagine Mr. Poe did it because he just roamed the country, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know who did it.
You know,
She's still been wondering about it.
yeah, Mr. Poe.
She thought Clarence came over there and
And he just roamed.
I remember Mr. Poe real well.
Yeah, I do too.
He liked me real well.
she was worried, thought it was Miss Clarence coming over there and
Oh, you
smelling
think
her
that
old
was
stinky.
Clarence coming over to see your shoes?
3 years old. I didn't really know her as a sister, or she was part of the family, and it was always Leota and Carlisle. And then came Tommy about 7 years later in my life. And so when we were living in Atlanta, or Art was working in Atlanta, and I was down there on a part-time basis. And in 1983, Leota came to see us. And we had a little S10 pickup, and so she and I took off in that and went up to Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia, and it was a marvelous trip. And we went through the alphabet of all the United States and trying to remember all their capitals, of trying to keep ourselves entertained as we go along. And we had to look one up in the atlas, and that was North Dakota, if I recall right. And then we went from Williamsburg and went on to Mount Vernon, and then on down through the Shenandoah Valley and the Blue Ridge Parkway and into Jones County, Virginia, where our roots are basically, a lot of them began there. And she introduced me to Elizabeth Carpenter, who is a cousin several times removed, I believe, on the Shelburne side. And she was gracious enough to take us all around the countryside to see the Warner side, as well as the Shelburnes and the cemeteries and the churches, and where Grandma Howell was born, or the little dot there that has not been there. And we were saying our goodbyes to Elizabeth Carpenter and thanking her and everything. And Leota said, I'd like to see some hillbillies. Where are some hillbillies? I looked at Elizabeth and kind of choked, and she looked kind of strange, and I wanted to tell Les. I said, really, Les, we are in the hills. And you realize, Les, you were asking of people where we came from. So.
We are here. We have met the hillbillies, and they are us.
Try looking in the mirror, Larry.
Hey, Leota, that's another case of putting your foot in your mouth.
That was one of the most enjoyable trips, man.
That was delightful.
It really was.
Yes, it really was.
I think it was great.
That's nice.
That's right.
I was very hesitant to watch them drive off in this little S10 5-speed sports
Yeah.
pickup for Williamsburg. You know, I didn't know what kind of reception they'd have up there, but they they drove up under the big canopy, and the boys in all their uniforms came out and
White
opened
gloves.
the doors and the white gloves and all that, and let them out, and they were taken back more by the pickup than the two ladies.
These two genteel southern ladies. Right.
We got there though, we got to use the
You bet.
Williamsburg Inn too.
Oh, yes, we did. And of course, that was the year that the summit was, and all of the security and the news media was everywhere at that time. It was.
The economic summit.
Yeah, the economic summit and all of them. Of course, Jefferson lived there when he was studying law, so we felt like that.
We splurged there, but we sure made up for it with some of those egregious foods we had.
Yeah.
Oh, no white gloves.
No white gloves there.
No white t-shirts either.
No white.
To an 80s lady in 1993.
I thought you said the nicest lady.
Wrong. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Charles Dickens wrote these words, but for the moment let me clarify that it really has always been the best of times. The worst were just sharing of hurts, losses, and emotions, which all comes with loving someone. The following pages are a fond and loving memory of my grandmother. She's always been there for me, always stood by me, and most importantly, she's been my friend. I don't know if all children are friends with their grandparents, so I guess I'm lucky. Having read through some of this, I realize I need to clarify that many of the memories are collectively of Mamaw and Papaw. I feel the need to add this paragraph to say that while this is for Mamaw, it seems that her name is synonymous with Papaw and the like. Many things are Mamaw and Papaw, that's the way it was. Thinking back, I have no idea where the name Mamaw came from. My older brother Gary called her other grandmother Mimi, so I don't know if he started this, or if I did, or if someone else did. I'm sure that after reading this, someone will tell me. My first recollection of Mamaw is seeing her in her black robe. It was her cap and gown for graduation. I was with Mom and Dad, and we went to see her at Our Lady of the Lake. Mamaw had earned her master's degree, and we were there to see her graduate. This was one of her many accomplishments which she is so proud of. The other early memory is of Mamaw coming to dinner when we lived in the trailer. She brought me a set of play cards. These are the first memories I have of her. For some reason, I remember the strangest things. I remember the white Chevrolet. It was wildly strange to me because I remember asking why it had only one pedal. It had an automatic transmission. And for some reason, I had the idea that it was broken, and that Carly was at fault because he pushed down too hard on the pedal. My other memories are of sitting on Mamaw's kitchen counter. Whenever we would go to Mamaw's and Papaw's for dinner, I would help her in the kitchen. She'd sit me on the counter to the right of the sink and talk to me while she cooked. I don't sit on her kitchen cabinet anymore, which I'm sure that she's thankful for. But I still remember these times. The next few years, I didn't see a lot of Mamaw and Papaw. They had their own careers, and Mom and Dad were busy. This all changed when I was in the 3rd grade. It was during this time that Papaw suffered a heart attack. Over the next several years, we would see a course of events unfold that would eventually change our lives forever. Papaw retired from the boarding company, and soon after Mamaw retired. I remember going to her retirement party at Cole High School. I saw her library for the first time. It was neat and clean and something to be proud of. To my recollection, they gave her a book which sits on our coffee table in the living room. Years later, I worked in the library in high school. In fact, it was the library which Mamaw started at Highlands High School. She put the first books on those shelves many, many years before, and she did the same thing again at Cole High School in Fort Sam Houston. And I have in here a picture of Mamaw back in 1960 when she worked in the library there. In high school. This came from the 1960 Cole annual high school.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know you knew all that.
I know many things.
I think you're about to things you know.
During the next several years, I would come to know and appreciate my grandparents and love them all the more than I already did. During the summers, I spent a lot of time with Mamaw and Papaw. They would often pick me up at the office, Toddco, where Mom and Dad worked, and would spend the day with them. Mom and Dad would then pick me up after having dinner with Mamaw and Papaw. It was during these times that they became such an important part of my life. The next part's titled, it's the law of supply and demand. Of all the grandchildren, I'm the luckiest. I've been able to spend more time with Mamaw and Papaw than the rest. This was not by choice or prejudice from Mamaw and Papaw, but because of geographical boundaries, which are really hard to overcome. And yes, I was available as well as cute and adorable. In In the recent years, I've seen the friendship between Mamaw and I blossom. We can sit and talk for hours about different things, from the state of the nation to business, politics, railroad, and just about everything under the sun. Mamaw is an excellent conversationalist. There are few things that she doesn't have some knowledge about or isn't willing to listen to so she can learn more. During the years I was in Connecticut, she was always eager to hear what was going on and how I was doing. I remember writing a lot of letters to her and a lot of phone calls. Dad was still receiving long-distance free, so I made the best of it. We still enjoy phone calls. I really should get by to visit more, but we do talk fairly frequently, keeping up with family gossip and the state of the nation. It's our duty. Special fun, of course, is teasing her about her age. Well, believe me, with this being her 80th birthday, I'm in hog heaven. And I have to really thank her for doing this for me. I want to get lots of mileage. The next part was just titled A Shining Light Forever. Mamaw and Papa had a real big influence on my life. And they're both very important to me, and Mamaw's always been especially important. You'll see why. With Mamaw and Papa's retirement, they began to take a real interest in the farm. We made many trips to the farm during these years. We spent a lot of time together and a lot of sharing and caring. It was about a 45-minute trip to the farm each way, so we always found a lot to talk about. I like to think that I'm a pretty good conversationalist. That's how you diplomatically say that I have a big mouth. Being a good conversationalist, Mamaw was ever so entertaining on Gary's 38th birthday. She'd come over for ice cream and cake. And for those who don't know it, Mamaw has a strict policy that she never refuses homemade ice cream and cake. In the course of our conversation and congratulations on Gary turning 38 or 37, I made a date. She remarked how pleasant the trip to his house had been and that she had passed by the most beautiful little cemetery on the way. And she inquired as to had he made any arrangements. Mamaw is always the life of the party. Mamaw and Papa bought their first tractor when I was about 12. It was a bright red Farmall B. During the next few years, I learned how to run the tractor, shred the pastures, and remove fences. The latter was by accident when I overshot the fence and pulled all the steeples out. While I'm sure Papa was a bit perturbed, he never said a word. Tales from the Vienna Woods. There were times when Mamaw didn't go to the farm with Papa and I. She had a variety of interests, and they included sewing, teaching Sunday school, and genealogy. There wasn't always enough time in the week to get it all done, so some days she wouldn't go to the farm on the weekends with Papa and I. It was on these days that our lunches were, as we say, interesting. The title really should be Nightmares of Vienna Sausage. Mamaw was, shall we say, fond of her ritual. She often packed Vienna sausages for lunch when she wasn't there to cook. During the winter, she would often bring stews and soups and keep them on the wood stove. During the summer, when she wasn't there, though, it was not business as usual. The famous jam sandwich comes to mind. Instead of the usual, Mamaw prepared something a little different than the Vienna sausages. To our surprise, Mamaw had made sandwiches for Papa and I. What was really interesting and the surprise was that she forgot to put the meat in the sandwiches. So we had 2 pieces of bread jammed together.
You sure she forgot?
Here's a good part. What Mamaw probably didn't know was that most of the time Papa would stop by the local barbecue joint for a tea. Chris Katara, who helped take care of the farm, owned this little joint and always had fresh meat on the grill. Papa would always tell me right before we got out of the car, "Now come on, be sure to look real hungry." I don't think we ever left without a nice T-bone steak for each of us, and all it cost was a friendly smile. I don't think that I ever really looked hungry in my life, and if I did, I should get an Academy Award. The cattle were always interesting. The family insisted that Mamaw and Papa stop naming the cattle after the grandchildren. This happened directly after we had Nathan for dinner one evening. One of the funniest things that Papa used to say is that cattle are great for helping you take care of your fences. Every night they always check for the holes. That's pretty much true, and every time I tell somebody that deals with cattle that, they find it funny. Papa always kept his baseball caps by the back door. He always had one or two in the car with him. For some reason, this memory stands out in my mind. He had a hat that he often wore on the tractor. It was a straw plantation owner's hat. It was what he called his gentleman farmer hat. Through the next several years, we'd see things happen that would drastically change the course of all of our lives. When I was 14, I went to church camp. Interesting enough, they would, quote, foster the horses out during the winter when I went to camp. I didn't sign up for one, but for two. I didn't want the horse I got to be lonely. What I found out at 10 p.m. on April 8th, 1993, just the other evening, was that I owe one of my greatest pleasures in my life to Mamaw. Mother explained to me, through clenched teeth, that it was Mamaw who influenced them to allow me to foster one of the first horses from the church camp. Mamaw's the one that talked them into it. And Mother says, thank you very much. Learning to ride and take care of horses has been a cornerstone in my life all these years. I've shared so much with a lot of people who have crossed our path. These people have become close friends and cherished friends, and probably wouldn't be a part of my life if it weren't for Mamaw. After Papaw passed on, Mamaw sold the farm. It was just too much of a burden and a reminder of times gone by. I remember my very last trip to the farm to pick up the tractor. It wasn't the Farmall B that had been delivered many years earlier. It was a newer and better tractor. Mom and Dad have the tractor. I always admired the glass lamp that hung from the ceiling in the living room in the farm. I don't imagine it was a particularly expensive antique, but I liked it. Mamaw made sure that I got to have the lamp before the house was moved. It sat in my closet for many years. I'm older now and have my own home, and in my dining room hangs the glass lamp that hung in the living room of the farm where the wood stove was. It's a warm, pleasant reminder of those days that were so precious to me. It's a shining light forever. One of the reasons Mamaw and I have been so close is because we have a lot in common. We like a lot of the same things. We have excellent taste. We have award-winning personalities. And most of all, it's because we're warm, kind, considerate, sincere, suave, virtuous, sophisticated, well-mannered, well-meaning, cultured, poised, personable, friendly, thrifty, humble, modest, and generally adorable. Joking aside, we have more things in common than many people realize. You see, we both play the piano, have been in buggy wrecks, worked in libraries, and watched and ridden steam trains in and out of Burnett. It covers quite a gambit. Needless to say, we always have something to talk about. Mamaw's been there over the years. Mamaw was there the day they delivered my piano. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It's such an important day, and she was there sharing with the family's excitement. The birthdays still keep coming. Mamaw has often heard to say that she'll continue to have birthdays because she doesn't find the alternative appealing. The problem really is not that Mamaw's getting older, but that she keeps dragging the rest of us along with her. Mamaw, will you please stop? The years are going by and Mamaw's getting older and dragging us with her. I guess we really don't have a choice, we just go along for the ride. There are so many things I want to tell her, I'm almost scared that I'll leave something out, something important, something trivial or something special. Mamaw has always been a loving person, as you are, how you are, because you are, the way you are. I always refer to her as my best girl, and she is. As I come to the end, it's about 6 p.m. on Friday, April 9th. I started writing this letter early this morning, and we've gone to lunch, been back, and dealt with several disasters. A lot of emotion went into this. It's definitely been a labor of love. As I close, I'm going to put in a few more things I remember. Not with any great detail, just remembrances. Fresh strawberries in the garden at the farm. Trying to catch Milady at the farm when she didn't want to be ridden. Climbing in the china cabinet in the dining room. There's still a crack there. Send the bill to Mom and Dad because I wasn't financially responsible then. Going to the used bookstore on East Houston Street. Writing in the Western Parade with Mamaw in the buggy. My graduation. The pen set still sits on my desk. All the duets. Hours and hours of 42. All I can say is happy birthday, and I love you.
Oh.
I think I'll cancel.
I want to follow this way that they made me. Yes, well, you see here before you today your lovely mother, kinswoman. You see a woman who's comfortable. She's the matriarch of a wonderful family. There may be a few things that you didn't know about her, and I just kind of wanted to clear the record. They made me do this. About her. You know, of course, how you all know how she started her life in a tiny town, and we might ask, how tiny was it? Well,
how tiny was it?
Come on, it was so tiny, they didn't even have a village idiot. They all had to take turns. You're familiar, of course, one of my favorite stories of her childhood is when her teacher in the 2nd grade took her whole class to the Methodist church. And, of course, the preacher said, who wants to be saved? And she didn't want to be left out, so she marched down the aisle to join the Methodist church and be saved. I think what a lot of you may not realize that the preacher said something about he was looking for donations for the orphans home, and she said, "I've got 3 at home, Rudy and Hap and Pat." So that's why she didn't go back, because they wouldn't take y'all. Well, she got out of that little town and she got to keep her orphans. But she did have her own little orphans, her little 3. And just a couple of stories just to show the wonderful relationship with a mother and her children. Tommy was her one who would do errands. He would go out and do things and buy for us. And, of course, she sent him to buy a dozen donuts one time. He came back with 2. 2
donuts.
He got hungry. Carly used to fuss at her because he thought she was cheap because she would only buy margarine instead of butter. But my favorite story about Carly is he got a water gun and he was looking for a likely target. He somehow thought Mother's nose was the perfect target. He did. He said, "It's so big." He really did. This is true. And speaking of targets, I will tell you one about myself. I was about this high or so, and I looked up one day, and now you see she's a very slender, attractive woman. She always has talked about being hippie. Well, see, I looked up and my eyes were right at these nice hips. And I had observed in cartoons how people would come up and with a pen, and the person would yow up into the air. I did, and she didn't. It was so hard to explain why I had done it, but it seemed like a good idea a moment before. Well, in later life, you see, she has a very lovely home. She has beautiful clothes, and it's because she is a shopping maniac. When she gets ready to shop, I wish I had all of the things she needs. She needs a razor to shave all the body hairs off of her to make her aerodynamic. She needs a bathing cap, and she needs rollerblades. Because she can go the longest and find the most things of anyone. But this is a very lovely trait of hers. She's come up with some beautiful things. I believe Kevin mentioned one other small item. We consider her the frugal gourmet. You see this lovely napkin? Well, it's still pretty good, and if you just cut it in a few parts, you now have 4 napkins. And, if one side's dirty, you just throw it away, but you still got the others. I don't know if she's ever ironed them yet or not, Pat. It fell to our lot. Lisa and I had to kind of get a few things out of the refrigerator. So I have some evidence here for you as to frugality. I think this went to Desert Storm and back. But I carefully put it in the freezer for you. I noticed a chipped rock out there, I believe. You could use these brownies to replaster.
Yeah, you did birthday.
We had some cake here. Here's my personal favorite. She is frugal. She, has a very little appetite, very dainty. And sometimes she can't eat everything, and so she had a little leftover here.
Shades of Grandma Hal, huh?
You children don't know what it is.
But it's ready for her next meal. Mom, it'll be in the freezer for you.
Can you hold it up again?
Oh, yes.
Put it over here so I can see it, Linda.
Okay.
Let me get a good shot of it.
This is her. Oh, y'all couldn't see over here. Oh, yeah, we saw it.
You've seen it before, have you not?
That's garbage, in case you didn't know, so it wouldn't stink up my kitchen.
That's weak.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, when I got to writing my really nice part, I realized how very much like you I am in many ways. So I won't go much further in running you down in any form or fashion because I find myself being like you in a lot of ways. And so I just want to wish you a happy birthday and hope that I may join you. For my 80th birthday, we're having a water balloon fight. So you're invited.
Linda, I'd like to add one thing to that, just one little short. Several years ago, at Thanksgiving dinner, we went over, Bonnie and I did, and had Thanksgiving dinner. We got served on paper plates. So, I was never very fond of paper plates. And after it's time to clean up, I'm sitting there and it's something about doing the dishes, and I made the comment that Mother was the only person I knew of that needed a dishwasher that you could set a fire in. Well, I've aged somewhat and matured some, and we eat off paper plates some, and I now understand the need for setting a fire in the dishwasher.
I'm sorry, I have one more thing I need to say. I forgot. They made me say.
Kevin can help you too. He was there. He had to load it.
Oh, that's right. He can help. Well, this is the real reason I stayed in South America for 7 years. Mom went to the thrift store and bought some bread. Well, actually, they had a barrel full of it. I think it cost $1.
$1 a barrel, pig feet.
Bread. Because that was ready for that was their next stop. And it took me 7 years before they ate it all, but I did not eat one piece of it. I managed to avoid it.
Do you vouch for that, Tommy?
We ate some of it. We were here.
We couldn't leave the country.
You had mileage on your side, Lynn.
They made me say it, Mom.
Well, we're truly thankful everybody's here. Welcome to the Less is More show. I'm glad you clarified about the sandwiches. I went 4 years with Mom packing my brown bags for high school lunches. I thought it was standard not to have meat. I thought she was forgetting.
And they were wrapped in bread wrappers too, instead of saran.
Oh, yeah, they had plastic by the time you came along.
Well, I think most of you know she did have a wonderful, illustrative career in so many ways, as Kevin has already referenced. Of course, you know she started out as a music teacher way back in the early 1950s, and I think that's when they first invented the phrase, if you don't toot your horn, no one else will. I think she was the one who came up with that. And of course, more appropriately, when she became a high school librarian, there's so many fond memories of that. Now, I won't say she was stern or anything like that, but let me put it this way. They had to surgically part her lips from the shh position. She was certainly a stickler for grammar there in the library and the high school students coming and doing their papers. In fact, she was such a stickler for grammar, they had a major sign that Mom orchestrated and designed and put on the wall. You all don't need to do nothing else but read them books. Illustrious sign. It was a very good honor when she retired from the library. They did do a nice dinner. In fact, they had a flaming memorial for her. The next day they burned down the library. She is also a speaker. I think Kevin made reference to several of these kinds of things. She did book reviews for church groups from time to time and other kinds of amazing things. They had a tribute for the many speeches she gave, and also you know that she went to graduate school. Kevin mentioned that. And, well, they had a televised tribute. I think it was the last episode of Hee Haw. I'm not sure. She was a decorator, among other things. She has a beautiful home decorated here, but at their farmhouse, Mom would decorate with knickknacks, primarily old apple boxes, and had a flair for how to do that. As a matter of fact, if you go to the farmhouse today,
Rosemary.
In Spanish or Hindu. I have only known Mamaw for a short time, but I do have a fine memory of a good time we had not too long ago. I invited Mamaw to take a trip with me to Abilene. I was going to visit a good friend, and I thought she would like to visit Carly and his family for a few days. I loaded up my ice chest with Big Reds, sandwiches, chips, and dessert. It was party time. In the next 4.5 hours, we talked, we laughed, we ate, and had a grand time. Mamaw is a witty, fun, and very intelligent person. I truly enjoy her. I look forward to building new memories with her.
Oh, thank you.
That's great.
Somebody else want to say something sweet about me?
Let's hear what you got.
Friends, relatives, countrymen, relatives. Lend me your ears. I hope yours are better than mine. I come not spare Caesar, but to praise you and thank you for making my day so special. I really do. I really do. That's really good to hear. Praise all of you for coming to see me today and for all of them, their kind words you so gleefully spoke to me. I would use Cary Grant's words when he was carrying 80. Here's to the ability to have the agility to take your virility into your senility. Since I reached the ripe old age of 80 in my doddering, quivering way, I want to bequeath you some of my most prized possessions in my last will and testament. I've known Rudy the longest, as we both rode horseback in the dark ages. Many, many moons ago, Rudy and I rode horseback to school, and on hot summer days as we rode home, we would torture ourselves thinking of good food we would like, something cold, Eskimo pies, or maybe candy. To honor you today, I want you to have one of those wishful dreams that you had. Maybe we tomorrow.
Hold it up, Rudy.
Look there. Boy, they sure you sound good too, didn't they?
Oh, man.
It sounded good.
Now that you're also along with me in that doddering stage of old age, and in your twilight years, I understand that you read a lot, and I want to keep you there. I want to help you there by presenting you with a genuine Moroccan leather-bound book to add to your library of classics.
I don't know. We just have a door for me. I'll go outside and start reading.
You won't go to sleep now.
Lavina Wilbur has honored us with her presence today, and to show my appreciation, I want to give her 2 tickets with all expenses paid to the Galapagos Islands off the coast of Ecuador in South America. People travel from all over the world to see the huge turtles and wildlife in the Galapagos. It is quite a snappy experience, and I wish you long what I Bobby, I share the same birthday, so that makes us twins.
Yes.
I want to give her special recognition with the cake of her very own. Happy birthday, Bobby.
How cute. How sweet.
The candle represents the first 50 years of your life.
Okay.
And then, in case you forget your birthday, or today, Bobby, I'm giving you a colored book. It can occupy many lonely hours in your motel room, and as you travel, and you can recall with fondness this happy day that we are all sharing.
Thank you.
Art, I'm so glad that you could come today. I realize that you supplement your income by selling pecans.
That's right.
Here is a small bag of pecans. To augment the present supply. I'm also bequeathing you my tin cup.
Wonderful.
And now this tin cup is for holding. Let me see, it's all that money that you're going to make from selling your pecans. However, if the pecan crop fails, tin cups are also good to stand in the corner. My sister Pat is a wonderful person. In fact, her price is far above rubies. I am giving you a red pigeon ruby of great price and value. In addition to the rare pigeon ruby, I'm also giving you a new jewel box to hold your other jewelry that you have acquired over the years. Here's your jewelry box. Here's your ruby. That's a rare pigeon ruby. Yes, it is. No, that's a real pigeon egg.
That's only 10 years.
I don't think I'm going to make it with people like you. Hap is a former law officer, having served in various capacities. He has been sheriff, state trooper, deputy United States Marshal. However, you were never the Lone Ranger. So now, I want you to make your life more complete, so I'm giving you your Lone Star badge. Here's your badge. You want me to hold it for you?
He's the Lone
Ranger.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. What's in there? No, I didn't have a bath for you. Johnny has been such a lovely addition to our family. She already has a large selection of jewelry, but I want to add one more piece, a chain link bracelet. Thank you. I've always wanted one. And also, I'll have to just for you. Also, since your gun was stolen, I want you to have another Remington rifle. Oh! Thank you.
Get them. I don't know what to do with the water gun.
You can charge them. next year.
Get ready to know.
Pneumonia, what with pneumonia?
Take care of those farmers next door.
Loaded with
Billy
pneumonia.
Bob had to leave early, but you can send this to her if you want to. I wrote this about Billy Bob. I said, Billy Bob is studying to be a nurse, which is the most worthy occupation. In my august and praiseworthy wisdom, I am supplying Billy Bob with painkillers to soothe their fevered brows, aches, and pains. And I would suggest that you give them at night to tell them, and then tell them to call you the next morning if they're not feeling better. Good luck in your new profession.
I'll be sure. I gotta write all that down.
Oh.
Get that.
Look at those
Look at those pills. Lord, absolutely. That'll kill anything.
Oh, she's doing good.
I was getting encouraged by the empty box.
All new box.
Good job, Nicole. Okay. Tommy is a businessman in the paging business service. He networks across Texas and is constantly on the lookout for tower sites and new electronic equipment. Through business magazines, I learned of some of the very latest equipment. In fact, this equipment is so new that it was only developed today in Mountain Quarry. Here is your model for the latest electronic equipment.
Really?
It works real good, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Straight down the street.
Also, also here's the map for your vacation trip next year when you take your motorhome. My two daughters-in-law and daughter are all pearls of great price. Let's start with Bonnie. She is a pearl of great price.
Ooh, that is great.
Bonnie is a great lover of animals. She has dogs, cats, horses.
You're an animal, right?
Since she doesn't have much to do, I'm suggesting that she raise ostriches. Her other animals do not bring in a revenue. But if you will only raise ostriches, Bonnie, you can sell ostrich feathers, ostrich beef, and ostrich leather. Bonnie has some ostrich leather boots somewhere for sale. So, in order to get you started, you just give. I'm giving you an ostrich egg to get started.
Sit on it, Bonnie.
Carly, as you go about your daily affairs, you have a great responsibility. Administrators, the public, the professors, staff, and students. Do you ever have a feeling that you're losing your marbles? If so, I have the remedy for you. Here is an extra supply. Supply running low, that's your extra supply.
You'll need them.
Then I also have another great medicinal aid for you. It is a sleeve. You remember Shakespeare that said, sleep that knits up the ravel sleeve of hair?
Good hanky too, honey.
You can keep your marbles there.
Stuff it in my mouth.
Ada, you too are a pearl of great price. Ada is a counselor. She conducts many hours of counseling to assist people in solving their problems. She does testing and measuring, and here is a tape measure to assist you.
That's pretty.
Jennifer, here's an Easter egg prize for you. Some of our little dolls. It opens up if you want to. Linda. Linda is also a pearl of great price. Well, my daughter-in-law is a pearl of great price.
Put that on.
She is also a school teacher, and when she gets home at night, she could probably use some extra energy. So I'm presenting you with a bottle of pep pills. Well, here's the pep pills, and I'll read about the candle. Okay. It's supposed to be separate, but anyway, there's the pep pills for you.
Now, a minute you say really keep you
I
happy.
also want to encourage you with the candle. Remember, it is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Just think of the light that you provide as you teach, plead, beg, and do handsprings to keep that inner glow among your students.
That's right.
That's good. Engineer, and has a management job in which he is constantly seeking to economize and improve labor relations. I bequeath to you my light bulb in order to provide you with the right ideas.
You notice that's probably one that's been used. They have the best ideas.
Lisa, I would like for you to have this beautiful, rare, antique diamond pin that one of your grandparents brought over on the Mayflower. It's one of your ancestors. Keep it and cherish it always.
She had gotten it.
You get nervous again.
Gary has been wanting a new motorhome, as his present one is small and is getting older. Again, being the devoted grandmother that I am, I want to give you this nice holiday lounger. Put that out of the room for your growing family.
It's already loaded, now we'll take it.
Stand up. I'll do this whole. And here is a special Easter egg for Sharon. And I was going to include Rusty, but he's been winning ribbons just right and left because he participates in UIL. So I want to add to his collection by giving him a silver loving cup. Well, that's okay. Stand it up. Okay. We make you stand grown up. Rosemary is interested in a new greenhouse and additional plants, so I have found this rare plant for you. Kevin works for his dad at Crystal Paving and answering service, but on weekends he goes to Austin to be engineer on the helicopter flyer over the Austin steam train. Kevin volunteers his time for this, but his dream is to own his own engine and railroad. Since I am loving, kind, passionate grandmother that I am eager for my grandchildren to have their heart's desire. So I am restoring it for you this evening. And then this will help you to buy the railroad cars to go with it. I think I got everybody, didn't I?
Well done.
Seriously, I want to thank all of you. I really do thank you for coming. This made my day, believe me, my week even, my month.
The whole year. How about
I stayed
years?
a year.
Let's go back and make another year.
No problem.
Yeah, let's do that.
Happy birthday, dear Lord. Happy birthday to you.